Okay, so good evening, guys. Welcome back. We'll continue with our Ansible session. So today is Ansible day 9 session, and the date is today is 30th of Jan 2025, and the timing is evening 9:25 PMST. So sorry, guys. Today it was a bit late. I started session today a bit late. Uh, okay. So now what we are going to do today? What we're going to cover today in today's session? So in yesterday's session, that is in a day 8 session, we had covered few of the models, right? Yum repository, service, user model, group model, line in file model. I think only we covered a part of models on, right? So this much was sufficient for us to understand how we can use these models in our command line, right? So now what we're going to do today. So today we're going to understand about what exactly a playbook file is all about and how to write a playbook file. So we know that like all these days we are using ad hoc command. Ad hoc command means in a command line, we were executing it actually in a command line. So where we are executing the command line in the Ansible server itself, right? Wherever the Ansible server is there, we used to execute with the help of an Ansible command with the -m option. And if required, I was using -a option because -i means inventory. I need to provide the inventory file name. And with the -m option, that is a model, and provide the model name. And we used to use something like -a option because of the argument, because if you're calling this model, you need to call, we have to pass some parameters. That is why with the help of -a option. And like we used to pass all the arguments this is what in the double bracket, right? In the bracket. So this is what we have been doing all these days because we were trying to understand what is model is all about and how it executes actually. And we were used to achieve some certain all the task with the help of this ad hoc command only. Now what we are doing that actually that suppose for example tomorrow you want to you want to do certain more task. So all these days in ad hoc command we are achieving only one task at a time, right? It means that I want to just install some package like Apache package, okay? And after that, I want to copy some file from one location or other location, right? Or else I want to add some yum repo, or I want to create a user accounts. Like that, we were achieving very small tasks in the command line. But in the real time, what happened, right? In the real time, you have to execute multiple tasks. It's not like one task. So it means that you need to come up with a file actually. So with a file method. So you need to come up with a file method. It means that you have to write a file where in that file you will mention all the tasks, whatever you want to execute it, and then like you used to run that file actually. So basically this file method, what we call it as a playbook file actually. We need to write a playbook file. If you remember that I had written one diagram where you have a playbook file where in the playbook file consists of a lot of plays, right? Each and every play, right? It is nothing but there are a lot of tasks. You remember, and each and every task is nothing but it's a model, right? This is something like a structure we are following it actually, and this is a structure we'll follow it when you're writing a playbook file. Now this playbook file, whatever you write the playbook file, this is usually it will be in a format of YAML or JSON. But usually in organization, we always use a YAML formatting, right? Not JSON, but anyhow, like in earlier, long back when people started using Ansible, they were writing all the playbook in the JSON format itself. But even some organization, if you go into some organization, you will see playbooks are written in JSON. So don't get don't get surprised. No, why they're written in JSON? It could be written in JSON or YAML. Both the formats are supported by your Ansible servers, right? So what we are saying that in the file method, right? Whenever you want to execute more than one task, it is always better to write a write the playbook file. And playbook file, as I said, generally it is written in YAML and JSON format, right? Now, what is this YAML and JSON format? So we need to understand about this because this YAML and JSON is a tool, or I can say it's a method of having a data representation, right? So JSON or YAML are are the tool actually we call it a tool or a software we say, right? A tool or a software you can say, okay? And it is basically used for having a data representation. So we know that, guys, in most of the DevOps tools, let it be cloud formation templating, which is used in your AWS cloud, let it be ARM templating, which is used in our Azure cloud, let it be Azure DevOps pipeline, which you use, let it be GitLab, let it be GitHub Actions, let it be a Kubernetes manifest file or a Kubernetes object file, we say, let it be Ansible, or let it be Jenkins file. So you will see that we write all this files and everything in various different tools, right? So most of the tools or most of these DevOps tools, they follow or they use this YAML or JSON itself actually. YAML or JSON way of writing. Like for example, CloudFormation templating, it uses the JSON format of representing it. Azure DevOps, right? CI/CD, what you do, it is a YAML. Kubernetes manifest file, it is a YAML. Ansible, both, either YAML or JSON, right? So basically, what we have to do means when we are working, when we are as a DevOps engineer, we have to understand about how this JSON and YAML works. It means that suppose tomorrow you need to write any kind of a file in JSON and YAML format, you should know how to write it actually, right? It means that what is the way, what is the syntax, what we follow when you're writing a JSON and YAML. So both are same. Syntactically, if I ask you, both are same actually, right? Now, what we'll do, like in next half an hour, let us try to understand like how to write a JSON or a YAML format actually. How to write it actually. That is what it is. How to write a file in JSON or YAML formats, right? So now, so before this formats, guys, before the JSON and YAML format came, like earlier we had some format known as the XML formats, right? So the XML is extendable markup language, right? So where this is XML is used, see, this XML was used heavily in most of the programming language. Even today also we use this XML data formats actually. Now where we use these formats or where we use this XML programming or XML data formats, we use basically for the data, for the data translation. So for the data translation, so data translation, we use this data formats actually. We need to have some tool where with the help of the tool, we can translate the data from one to another program or from one model to another model. Say, for example, you are having some application one, and you are having application two. Both this application want to communicate to each other. Assume that actually that this application one is a Python application and this application two is a Node.js application. Now, how they can communicate to each other, because both these programming languages are completely different. The way Python works is entirely different the way Node.js works. But still, what is happening that is there any way where the communication can be made, or when you translate the data, both this programming language like Python and Node.js should be able to understand it. Yeah, then we can use an XML format. So XML format is a way of representing data, and you can translate the data from one program to the another program or from one model to another model where both the programs can understand. So that is how you need some common translation or the common way of formatting data where both the program can understand. That is very well, XML was used heavily. Even today also, many of the organizations, they use, this XML formats heavily actually, right? So now to give an example, now let me open MS Paint, right? So consider that, guys, there are some two applications are there. For example, this is one application, okay, and we have one more application, like this is one application, right? So this application, consider that this is something like your something you can say front end application, okay, which is nothing but which is written in Node.js, right? And this is the backend application actually. This is nothing but your backend application, which is written in your Python actually. Okay. Now the thing is that here Now assume that you somebody has designed an application, right? Say for example, if you go to any restaurant, suppose if I take a restaurant, a lot of big restaurants are there, right? RESTORANT restaurants, right? Like for example, you have Taj restaurant, you have Oberoi restaurants, like that. Many restaurants are there, right? In Delhi, we have something like Lalit restaurants. A lot of big restaurants are there, and even in many of the other small scale restaurants also, like we have a 3-star hotels or 2-star hotels or some very big hotels are there, where they have an application which is built in, that is basically used for something like order collection, right? You remember, like right? So for example, if you go inside the hotel and if you sit in a table, okay, some person will come and he will ask you like what you need to order it actually. So you know that he will have some like a big tab he has, and what he will do that he will take an order from you. You will say that okay, what is the starters, what is the main course, and what is a you want some desserts and all some everything. He will try to take an order from you. So what happened, right? In his tab, right, there's some applications on it which will try to take an order. So it is nothing but it is an order collection. So it is nothing but so front end application Node.js which is written, right? It is something like it's an order collector actually. It's an order collector. So it means that you will try to uh, provide some details about okay, what are the foods you are ordering it. So he will take it actually. So it means that that person who comes and who requests for the order, he has that tab, right? In the tab, some application is installed in that. So that is some application where it try to take all kind of an orders. So once you take an order and once you try to like submit the order, what that order will do, that front end application will do, it will try to communicate with the backend application actually, right? So this backend application which is written in the Python, so basically this is nothing but your something like it does all other restaurant operations actually. RESTU and RANT, restaurant operations, right? Say for example, once you complete the order, further it has to get processed, right? So it means that it has to go and it has to go and it has to like okay, it has to give all the details about what is the table name, okay, what is an order number, right? And also like what are the food he has ordered it, right? And how much time it will take to prepare that order and all. So many information will be there, so where in the back end you this Python application will process that input, and then what is happening, it's going to create an order number, and it's going to create some kind of invoice bill also. So many things where in the backend this Python application will do. So this whole application is something like your, like a hotel management, right? Or can say that the food delivery management. So you can just understand like a food delivery management application. Food delivery management. I'm just taking food delivery management application. Something, right? So both combination of these two, front end, back end, everything, it's a food delivery management application. And it's not only here, this does, suppose for example, suppose somebody is sitting at the home and through the Swiggy or through the Zomato, okay, through the Swiggy or through the Zomato, like he can order the food even from Taj also, right? He can even order no, food from Taj or Obra or from any hotel you can order. So through the Swiggy, you can order also. Again, the same application will come to the picture. It will try to collect all the, it means that your Swiggy or Zomato, it has to communicate with the front end application with Node.js, where through the Swiggy, you're trying to send a data to this front end application. And once your data is sent, further what this order collector will do, it's going to send that data to the restaurant operation application, which is not, which is written in the Python. And it finally it process it and it give you the order number, it give you the time, all those details and all, it will publish it actually, right? So now the thing is that guys, what I'm saying that here, when the communication happen between the front and the back end, which is on Python, right? Consider that it is using some XML format data. So XML format data or XML format of XML formatting is used where the Node.js is actually sending a data to your backend application, which is Python. Am I clear, sir? Right? So now, what is this XML is called? This XML language is called something like an exchanger, right? Exchanger, right? It's an exchanger. It's a data exchanger actually, right? It's a data exchanger, right? So XML also is one of the format I say. It also act like a exchanger, data exchanger or data translator, whatever might be, right? Right. So this is also a tool only which represents the data, right? Now the thing is that all these years, no, XML was used in organizations and everywhere it was used actually. But the point is that actually that XML had some I can say cons or nothing but the disadvantage. That one of the big disadvantage of XML is that actually XML used to consume a lot of data, consumes a lot of data. It means that to translate the data itself, what are the chunk of data? See here in this case, if it want to translate this whole XML data from here to here, whatever the payload or what are the internet or what are the network is required, that was huge actually. It means that if this application are running over the network, for translating the data from one to the other itself will cost you huge actually, right? So in that case, what happened, right? Like your payload will be more, your network payload will be more, and it will be unnecessary. You will be involved in paying a lot of cost for only translating the data itself, actually. So that was a major disadvantage, actually, which was there actually, right? So that's the reason what happened. Because of that disadvantage itself, like we came across with the JSON and YAML format. So JSON and YAML format, the payload or the data which is used to translate is very, very less. It's a very lightweight, and also it is the one big advantage for the JSON YAML is it's a human readable format. It is very, very simple to understand. So that were some of the advantages which we saw in which is there in JSON and YAML. That's what even today also in today now most of the programming language they use the JSON or YAML data representation. It's not like they've stopped using XML, but they have started avoiding using the XML now, right? So now, is it fine, guys? So this XML, it uses one kind of an algorithm or for the data translation, which is nothing but XSD actually. That is a standard which they use it for translating that. The XML intern uses the XSD standards for translating the data actually. Right. Now, shall we write a very simple XML file and try to understand about how exactly the data is represented with the XML format? Can we understand now? Yes. Say, for example, you say that, okay, Rajesh, I'll go to the hotel. I'll go to the Taj hotel, sit there, and I'll just place an order. And let's see that when the order you place it, what are the order you're getting at, how that order will get represented as an XML format, right? And finally, that XML format, you have to send it to the restaurant operation application, which is written in Python, right? So let's see, like, because why I'm telling about XML, once you understand the XML, so you'll understand, okay, this is how the data is represented. Same way, you'll be able to understand everything to JSON and YAML format also. Okay, if you have written this application in XML, or how to convert to YAML and JSON. So that thing you'll be able to understand in a very easy manner. That's what I thought that. Let me first tell about what is XML. Say, for example, assume that you are sitting, or else assume that you are sitting in the Swiggy. I mean, sorry, through the Swiggy, you are trying to order some food actually, right? How you can represent that ordering of the app of the food, everything through the Swiggy, right? How we can represent in the XML format. So shall we see that? Yes, we'll go over here, and what we'll do that I will open one more tab, and then like I will go to the languages and I'll select the XML data format. Can you see if you go to the language in Node++, you can write all the data in the XML format. So I'll just select this XML format. So now whatever the data which I write it down, everything, it will show me as an XML format itself actually, right? Why we choose this? Because that when we choose this XML way, when we start writing it, what Node++ will do that based on the XML, right? It'll try to even add on some coloring also so that you'll be aware of, okay, what this representation all about. Suppose you go and select the YAML, right? You go to select an YAML, right? Or you go and select the JSON. See, if you click on it, you could see that there's a JSON format is there. So when you try to use that formatting with this Node++, it will give the coloring effect, and you will get to know, it will give all spacing, structured, everything in a nice way to show. That's what you have to select the XML actually. Now assume that you are ordering through the Swiggy actual application. So how the order takes place. Now, whenever you are writing an XML file, there is something like XML always follows a way to represent data with the help of a tags actually. Always there has to be an open tag and there has to be a closing tag for every data. So how this tags works? It always works with the angular bracket, right? Angular bracket, and I'll set just a order and close with angular bracket. Now to close this tag, to have this tag, you could see that you need to have the closing tag also. You could see it should always close the slash actually like this. Now you could see that, see when I chosen the XML, you could see that it started giving coloring, it started representing some way, right? So that's how you go to the language and you choose that actually in the in the Notepad plus plus. Right now, who is a vendor with whom you are ordering it actually? So we will always give one space. So always spacing is very important. Suppose you choose to give the spacing as two spaces or one tab space. Suppose you can even give one tab also, or you can even give two spaces or three spaces. Whatever the spacing you follow, the number of spaces throughout 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 this data representation, you need to follow the same spacing. You cannot say that, okay, Rajesh, for something I'll give one tab, for other data I will give two spaces, or for some other three. No, it's not like that. If you have chosen to give tab, everywhere you have to give tab only, sir. Same thing with the JSON, same thing with YAML. Spacing is very, very important. You need to give a proper spacing. That is an indentation for that, I can say, for that data representation tool. It's an indentation. So what I will do, I'll give two spaces. That is what standard practice. A lot of people use it. I'll give two spaces, right? And I'll just say, okay, Raj, who's a vendor? So I'll go with the vendor. So what is a vendor? We know that it is a Swiggy actually, right? And you could see that whenever I'm using a tag, you should always close the tag actually. So the closing is always with the same angle bracket. You have to say slash and say vendor. Am I clear, sir? When did you place the order? So placed on. When the order was placed. So the placed on the order is today is 30th of your Jan 2025. Okay, and the evening timing is I just order at 21:30, 9:30 p.m. IST, right? Like that. And close with this tag actually. Placed on like this. Right? After this, it means that Swiggy is a vendor placed on what time you ordered it, fine. Now, what are the items you passed it, or you provided, or you just ordered it? Items, I'll just say items. So I'll just say items, and inside the items, see here from here, you have to give one, two, and I'll just say item number one, something like item one, item one. What is item one? The first item. I'll say that, okay, because I'm very much no like favorite for Andhra Mills. I'll just say Andhra Mills pack, family pack, and Andhra Mills family pack. Like this is what I ordered it. Okay, okay, and just end with the item one. That's the first item I ordered. What about the second item, item two? So it's not like only one you'll order anything, right? I'll say that, okay, I ordered even paneer chili also, right? And close with the sorry, with the item two. Some more, yeah, I need even Coke also. So I'll just say item three. Okay, I'll just say Coke, close with the item three, right? So once you open the item, you need to close that tag also, right? So these are three things which I ordered it. After that, what I'll do that, I have to close with the item also, right? But it's not only order here, something like where once you order it, actually, you should also get the information about like when it is delivered actually. So I'll open it, I'll open one more tag, I'll just say delivered, delivered, or just say deliver date or deliver time, something, deliver time, when it is going to deliver to me, right? So it is something like, okay, Rajesh, one, two. So when did you placed the order? Placed on. When did you place, sir? You place this order at this time, right? Yeah, this data I need actually. Okay, this was the this was the order time, right? When you ordered it actually. Placed on, okay. When it will be delivered actually, or when the scheduled time, or when it will be what is scheduled time or scheduled time, yeah, scheduled time. So when is the schedule, when it's going to come? It's the same day, man, but I think it might come at around 10 o'clock, right? Half an hour delivery date. Okay, at the same time, instead of 21, I'll just say 22, and I'll say so within half an hour the food will get delivered, right? That's what. And close with the tag, close with this schedule time tag actually, right? And after this, you have to close with this tag actually, right? Slash, right? And items is closed here, delivery time is closed here, this order is closing here. See, this is how you will be representing your whole means deliver everything, whatever you are ordering, everything through this XML form. So, guys, I want to ask you, did you find very difficult in understanding this? No, right? What you have understood only thing that Rajesh, wherever you are having some, you're using some tag, there has to be closure of the tag also. So here you are opening with the vendor, here it is closing. Placed on. So one of the big disadvantages that actually, even though it looks very easy to understand it, right? But the problem is that you are involved with using so many tags actually. So item one, same thing repeated to item one. Same data here it is repeated, but it will be in a closing tag. Same thing everywhere, the opening and closing is there, and this is what the reason your data looks huge actually. It consumes a lot of memory, and whenever you're translating this XML file from one program to another program, right? Then what happened? The network, what is involved in translating this data from one program to other program over the network, the payload is also very high. So hence what is happening, you will be involved in giving more cost for the network actually. So in the real time, in today's time where people are using a lot of social applications, social app applications, like for example, like people are using Facebook heavily, people are using what other things, Instagram, a lot actually, right? If suppose in case, if you are having some client actually, suppose I am a client, I'm sitting in my mobile and I have opened my Facebook account. This is my Facebook account, right? And this is your Facebook server where your actual application, where your actual Facebook application is running. These are actual. So this is the Facebook application which is running in the Facebook network actually. So Facebook company, what happened, right? They have their own data center, so they are running that Facebook application in their server, right? In somewhere in US actually. Mark Zuckerberg is making his Facebook to run it. Now I'm sitting in my mobile and I'm opening in. This is my mobile. This is my mobile, and I opened that Facebook application. And I opened the Facebook application app, and I'm watching the videos. I'm watching some photos, like I'm watching many other things, right? I'm also even involved in playing some online game also, right? With the same application. Now, guys, do you think that if the Facebook started using the XML as a data format for the exchange between here to here, if it's using XML format, right? Do you think that you can achieve faster way of communication? No, right? Because when you're translating the request from the client to the server, it using some way how to translate data, right? So it will be using an XML. Suppose the Facebook has designed the application, everything where the data translation happened from one application to other application or from the client to the server using XML only. Assume that. Then what happened? These XMLs will be very huge because when you are saying that okay, I want to watch that video, actually what happened that you are sending a request to the Facebook server, right? And the Facebook server, when you're sending it, you are sending through XML. That XML has a huge number of information about which video he want to watch, what is the video, what is the time. So much data will be there. It means that this XML file itself is a huge file. And when you're sending this file, right, what is happening that actually, guys, no, there's a lot of network is involved in translating this data from here to here. Again, what happened when your application is responding to your Facebook or to your client also, it is responding even through the XML only. So in that case, what happened, right? Like you are heavily paying. So Facebook has to heavily pay over the network only. Whatever the network which is involved in transferring data, for that itself, Facebook will be involved in paying huge cost. And that is not the correct solution, right? Even like even suppose you are watching some big movie through the Netflix and all, there has to be some streaming software, right, which is used, right? Do you think that they use some heavy application to stream it? If they use some heavy application stream which needs more and more data to translate, right, then what is when Netflix will not be able to, they'll not be able to uh, have that kind of a latency or that speediness actually. So they have some application or streaming application where it uses a light way of translating the data so that the you can translate more data, but the network what is involved will be very less actually. So they will be using a YAML or or a JSON format only, right? So you understood, right? You understood the disadvantage of having what? The disadvantage of having the XML. So what are the pros and cons? Pros we understood, okay. Pros means actually, see, the pros is something like where this looks good actually. There's no doubt in that. And even today also, like in many organizations, they are using it actually. I'm not saying that XML has gone completely gone. Nobody is not like that. Many applications, even like you take Java applications, right? Java applications, everything completely rely on the XMLs only. You take any servers like Tomcat, Apache Tomcat server might be Oracle WebLogic clustering application. All the data translation happens with this huge application through the XML format only. Even today, they don't use JSON or YAML format. They use XML only. So it is not completely gone from the market, but you need to pay a very heavy price, right? When you're translating the data, right? So now what I'm trying to tell that the pros are there. It means that it is also human representation formation. The way we write this data is very simple. Anyone can write the XML formats. It is very simple to write, but it involves a lot of heavy cost in over the network payload. That's what. So the con is that actually the pros we understood. What is the con or disadvantage that actually it consumes a lot of data during translation. That's all. This is the only cause why the XML and YAML format came into the picture. Am I clear, sir? Okay.
It
Now,
it looks like HTML coding.
hmm?
It's
Yeah,
looking like
when
a HTML coding.
yeah, HTML also has the same thing of tagging and everything. But of course, what happened to XML? HTML is a completely, a language actually where you can write the whole HTML code for designing your application itself, front end application. But XML is not like with the XML, you cannot write any application, right? Front end application, right? HTMLs are the application, programming languages actually. Because we use a lot of like widgets we use something like suppose you want to create some boxes, you want to give some kind of a tags in the web page and all can be done very nicely through your HTML and CSS actually. Okay, now so that's how we came with something like a JSON and YAML, right? JSON is nothing but your what is the JSON, man? The full form, uh, JavaScript object notation, uh, YAML, not YAML. YAML, but yet another markup language, right? Now, these two data representation, they almost they work in the same way only. Okay, only slight difference is in certain things the way it is represented. Otherwise, both are same. Now, how this JSON came to the picture? JSON came to the picture. JSON came to the picture because when the people started using this JavaScript heavily, again the same thing, they were using the JavaScript for building the front end applications heavily, right? Even today also JavaScript is used heavily. A lot of companies are still required. You see when you apply for a job on DevOps and cloud, you will see that they'll even ask that do you know about JavaScript also? Because we need a person who is having very good knowledge in JavaScript. So they want to make the DevOps engineers to work in the front end application design also, so that the same person can design the front end applications using JavaScript, right? The same person can write a pipeline, the same person can do deployment. That's the reason what happened. Many of the organizations, they'll also ask even this also. I'm not sure how many people have observed. When I was applying for the job, I used to see heavily for DevOps and cloud, they were asking even JavaScript also. Okay, so now when the JSON came into the picture, JSON was heavily inspired from the JavaScript. The way the syntax it is used for representing any data, it was so nice that they came with the JSON, and JSON is the syntax what is follow in the JavaScript is the same syntax what we use in JSON also. Am I clear, sir? YAML is a yet another programming language. So YAML is completely influenced from the XML. So the way XML are represented the data, same way, and but whatever the clutters it has, right, that and all they have removed it and they have made it very much simple actually, right? So apart from this, there is one more tool is there known as a Java query JQ is there. Like that, we have a YQ. we call the YAML query. So we will see about this also later sometime. Not now. It is not part of this course, but it is very important that as a being a DevOps engineer, we should know what is JQ and YQ and all, right. Java query and these are the tools actually which we use heavily in most of the programming we use. We will be using JK and YK everywhere, man. Suppose you're working on a cloud, we use this YK and JQ very well. When we are writing any Ansible playbook file, when you're writing any Kubernetes YAML file, when you're writing any kind of a YAML and JSON, wherever you write, right, we will be using this tool also. So this tool you have to install it in your system wherever you are executing that YAML or JSON, right? There JQ or YQ should be installed, and the way it supports. So all most of the programming things, whatever we do, right, whatever you achieve, we can achieve everything through JK and RQ. So we will be using even this also. If I have time, I will take around 2 to 3 sessions on this tool itself actually, right? And even this is the pending thing because a lot of people have asked me about to take a class on this. There's a pending from my side also, so I will take this class also. Not now immediately, after some time. You just remind me after 15 to 20 days. So I'll take this class for this also. Okay, fine. now, now you'll say that actually. Okay. Now, what is the important JSON and YAML is that, so in JSON or YAML, one common thing what we are seeing that JSON always represents the data in key and value format. So always everything, all the data, whatever represent will be in the key and the value itself actually. Same thing with the YAML also. YAML also represents the data in the key and the value format. So something like you'll be mentioning the key like this, and it will be a value like this. This is how it is represented everywhere, right? If you see any JSON format or if you see cloud formation templating, which is written in JSON format, you'll see that it will be key and value pair only like that, right? Now you'll say that Rajesh, that is fine. What you said is okay. I understood. Now can you write the same this or the ordering through the Swiggy, right? Can you represent the same thing in JSON format? Can you write it down? Yes, sir, we can write it down. I could have written in the other tab. Let me do the. Let me not write in the notepad. I will notepad plus plus. Let me open the notepad only. The simple notepad what we are. So in this I will write so that we'll understand the difference actually. Right? So let me open it. Sorry. Is it man? Yeah. Shall we write it? Yes, sir, we write it. So it's a good exercise for us to understand, man. That's not a thing like so it is just I need to write the same thing. So how to write it? So whenever you write a JSON or a YAML format, sorry, JSON format, always it starts with the bracket. Open the bracket and I think I can expand a yeah. Control plus right. So I have to write open the bracket. Always JSON always starts with open the bracket and always it will be close the bracket like this. So whatever write it will be inside this bracket section. Right now here what happened as I said the JSON or a YAML it always it is in a key and value pair only. That is how the data is represented in JSON or YAML. So now can we see it? Okay. So we'll say that Rajesh, there's a vendor is there. Okay. The vendor is Swiggy. How to do it? Yeah, same thing. Here also the same thing is you have to follow some indentation. I have to give two space. I have to give one tab or else I can give two space. As I said earlier, two spaces is the one which is standard use across organization. So hence we'll also follow the same way of making it actually, right? So who is a vendor? Okay. We'll say that vendor is a key and it is always colon here and the value is Swiggy like this and always it should end with the comma. So comma say that okay there are many other values are there, right? That's what it say that. Now either you can use a double quote or you can even use a single quote also. In many places you will see that it will be single quote only. Like for example, if you see any um, cloud formation templating files, you will see that Rajesh it will always be in a single quote. But it doesn't mean that it should always be single. You can even make it as a double quote also. Am I clear answer? After this, what is it after it? Placed on. So after that, what is it? Open the right placed on. And what is it? You have to give this date actually. And again with the comma. So whenever you see that there is no next, there is no available value, key value next, then you can stop that comma. Otherwise, you should keep using comma till you end, till you complete the whole writing, right? So what is the next one? What is it, guys? Item actually, right? items, items. Because here you could see that item is something like a list actually. So you'll say that Rajesh, there is item 1, item 2, item 3. This acts like a list. It's like I act like an array actually. So for the list everything, always in JSON, you should always open with the bracket. Open the bracket, give some space like this. Andhra, open the bracket, okay, paste it, comma, space, open the bracket, paneer chili, right, comma, space, and then cook. And close with the photo. Is it fine, guys? Am I clear? And then again, like I said that whenever you know that there are many more items are there, I mean many more are there, key value are there, which you'll be doing, always have to give a comma. Am I clear, sir? Okay, good. Now what else you needed? So as per this one, what's the next? We are having something like a delivery time actually, right? So delivery time has some more things like placed on schedule time is there actually. Oh, okay. So let me do one thing. I'll just say delivery time. Copy, paste it, code. Okay. Because it has many other things, many other different data. So what I have to do that I have to always open the bracket and close the bracket like this. And what I have to do that you have to copy this. So deliver time. So you open the bracket, close the bracket. Here also same thing. Here inside it, from here you can give any space. Oh, let me give two spaces. 1, 2, right? And comma. So what is it? Placed on, right? Comma. Schedule time. So Rajesh, after this, is there any data is there to represent? Nothing, sir. That's all. You can end with without giving comma. So this bracket should be closed with this, and this is for this actually. See guys, this is how you will write in a JSON format. Now, if you try to compare this JSON with this YAML, right? YAML looks huge actually, but you could see that JSON looks very small, and it looks a little bit ordered way also the way it is written, right? And it is very human repeated format also. Hence, what happens? JSON is very much highly preferred when you represent any data, right? So, what we say that here? JSON is very easy to write, or is very simple to write, and uh, and it is human readable format, both for both program or software and the human actually. Means even your software also or your application also can read this very easily, as well as our human also we can understand the whole data or the whole information of JSON very easily, because it is simple way. They have used a key and a value pair. And of course, there is something like you could see that there's something like a array is there where you're using the bracket and all. And there is something like open the bracket. Inside the JSON, you are writing open and the close bracket, right? So why we are using this? Because this itself is an object actually. This itself is an object. Always object in JSON is represented with the open the bracket and the close bracket. So we have to understand about what type of data are there in JSON and YAML format. That also we have to understand, right? So it is easily understandable by both human as well as a software or a program. You have to say like that. Am I clear, sir? Is it fine, sir? Anything is there? Yes. Now, now both, even I can write in a YAML format also, YAML also. Let's see, before otherwise, you said that Rajesh, I want to write the same thing through YAML. So can I write everything to the YAML? Yeah, you can write everything to the YAML also. But is there any way or is there any tool which can convert from JSON to YAML? Yes, sir. If you go to the Google and just say JSON to YAML converter. See, you will get so many online tools. You can go to any tool actually. You can go any tool. So if you click on it, it will say that, okay, you can give it here. Can you see here? If you give JSON, it will shift it to the YAML. It means it will convert into the YAML. So shall we try out? So copy this and see. Man, why it is taking so much time? Do the data. Oh, oh. Okay, there is some error is there. Uh, where is the error actually? There is okay. Swiggy, comma, items, okay. Delivery time, it's fine. Don't do any mistake, guys. Anyway, data from expected property or name, open the bracket in at the position line number 5. Right. What is it actually? Item, it looks correct only, no? Open the bracket. Okay, I think I have to keep comma also. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Okay, I think there is some issue, guys. I have to check it out. Uh, line number 2, column 3. Line number 5. Line number 2, column number 3. It is correct only, sir. Sure. Okay, I'll see it. Why it is throwing error? It should not throw error, no. Anyway, I'll come to this now in some time. So let me do one thing. Let me go and quickly write what are the different datas you have, data types you have, right? So in both YAML and JSON, it's the same thing only. So right here, different can say data types used in both JSON and YAML. Both it is the same data types. So one is nothing but the text or string we say. Okay. So whenever you use a text or string, you can represent the string or a text either in double quotes or in a single quotes like this. Right? You can do anything, right? And whenever you're having numbers, right? Okay, there is no need to give either double quotes or single quote. Numbers are without any quotes actually. So whenever you have something like here in this case, because this is having PM, that's what. Otherwise, assume that you're not mentioning that PM. I will say placed uh, on in PM, something like that. If you have this way, so what happened that you can remove this. So when you remove this, so this represents as a that number, there is no need to give the quote actually, single quote. It understand, okay, this is a number actually. So for the number type, there is no need you to give the quote actually. Right. So there's one more is that no, it's a Boolean. So Boolean are something like where we use something like a yes or no, or else something like sometimes we use something like a true or false. This is a Boolean value. So this is the first data type. Second data type is number, and the third data type is Boolean, and the fourth data type is list actually. We have seen here that we use this list like with the help of a bracket like this. Open the bracket, close the bracket, and there is one more thing, something like a complex data type, or else we call it as an object also. Both are same. So whenever you use the complex object type, we always use the open the bracket and close the bracket like this. So here in this case, if you see this example, this acts like a complex data type. So suppose in case if you want to give an example of complex data type, what you will do, say for example, you want to tell about your address, home address. So your home address is not straightforward, right? Your home address will be something like a building, right? Like this. Okay, building means my building is Pragati apartment, like this, right? What is a flat number, right? It is a number actually, right? So I'll just say 101 flat, 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 flat number, right? It is 101 something, right? What is the other thing? Cross, sixth berry cross, something like this, right? Like this. Area, health layout, something like that. What I'm saying means actually that you cannot represent your home address in a single line. It will be a combination of multiple different key and value pair and with the different types actually. Right. So in that case, what is happening that you cannot represent your data in a one format. Then in that case, it is a complex or a object type actually. Complex or object both are one and the same. If I say complex or object both are same. And complex or object, you should always use the open the bracket and the close the bracket in case of JSON actually. In case of YAML, it is different actually. So, but the conceptually both are same. So these are the five data types which is available in both JSON and YAML format. And we will be using all these things heavily, guys. Wherever when I write like playbook file for the Ansible, right? Like by using a YAML, I will be using all these data types. I will be showing then and there itself like what is this data type is all about, whether it's a string or whether it's a number, whether it's a boolean, whether it's a list, whether it's a complex or a object, right? I will keep showing you that one. Am I clear, sir? Right? Okay, fine. Now, so I mean, you will say the same thing, Rajesh. Like, okay, I got your point. What you're saying, you have written everything in your. Let me do one thing. Let me copy this thing and let me have this here so that we will get to know about it actually. So before that, let me copy over here so that this is the notes, right? So you might need this actually. I'll copy this whole thing and I'll paste it here so that you need this information. And afterwards, the same thing I will be representing in a JSON format. So JSON format, this is what it is. Right? And you will say that Rajesh, the same thing can you write in a YAML format. The same thing. The same thing can you write. Yes, sir, you can write in a YAML format also. So whenever you're writing a YAML format, always the YAML starts with a 3 hyphen like this. So this 3 hyphen says that this is the beginning of the YAML file. It's a YAML file. It's a beginning. Right? Always you need to, whenever you write any YAML file, you should always use the 3 hyphen. If you are not using, then also it is fine. But assume that in a single YAML format, in a single YAML file, if you need two datas actually, or you need a two different datas, then you will be having like this 3 hyphen. You will write something this, and you will say that Rajesh, in the same file, I have to write one more data means you can even open with again 3 hyphen, writing the data. But assume that actually, Rajesh, you are not using this 3-hyphen at all. Then you cannot have this two like. You cannot have the two different data. You cannot have it. You should have only one data format in that same file. It's something like, like when you're writing a Kubernetes file, I'm not sure how many you have observed. When you're writing Kubernetes YAML file, the Kubernetes YAML file, we don't use this 3 hyphens at all in the file. Sometime in some file you'll see, but mostly you'll not see it actually. It always starts with the API version. Have you observed it? API version like that, right? Like that app of V1. Like this, you use this actually, right? So it means that it doesn't mean that YAML will not work. It will work it. But what happened, right? You will be having only one data actually. You will be having only one data format. You cannot have another data format. It will not all because your file, Kubernetes.yaml, it didn't started with 3 hyphen, right? So, but if you start with a 3 hyphen, nothing wrong in that. But usually when you write a Kubernetes file, you say, okay, for everything, Rajesh, I'll write a single file. A single file. I don't want I don't want everything to be inserted in the same YAML file. That they don't do. That's what they don't start with a 3 hyphen. Right? When you write a Kubernetes YAML file or the manifest file. Right? So now in our case, we are not doing that. Always whenever you write the YAML format, we should always start with 3 hyphen. Even all our Ansible file, whichever file I write example, I'll always start with 3 hyphen. Now the same thing. Now after this, what is happening is that here, what is happening that you say that, okay, Rajesh, you are writing for the Swiggy application only, right? For the Swiggy ordering only, yes, sir. Now what is happening that I'll start with the hyphen and I'll just say vendor, and I have to use the quote. So who is the vendor? Swiggy is the vendor. Now the same thing here in YAML or JSON format, spacing is very important. If you give any kind of a spacing issue, the YAML will throw an error. Okay, Swiggy, and what is it actually? As per our this one, placed on. I think I have to add even that PM also. So here what happened, you need not to give any comma and all. But whereas in JSON format, you saw that for everything you need to put a comma. So if you end with the comma, putting comma, it understand, okay, that is an end of your data. It means that you're not giving any more data. That's the end of the data, right? But whereas here in YAML, it doesn't need it actually. You do not to really put a comma here. That is one advantage in this one. Okay, now, so now the next is that what is it actually? You have items actually. You have items. Open the bracket. Now, item is a list actually. So in the list, how in YAML it works, right? You have to mention item, but you have to consider this as a list actually, or like an array. Then what they do, right? They put enter and they'll give two space here, and it always starts with hyphen, right? And they'll say that, okay, what is the list item, right? Andhra Mills pack, like this, comma, again hyphen, the space portion. This is how it is represented in your YAML format. This is a small differences you have to understand it, and then like go catch. Yes. Correct, right? So when anyone sees this YAML this way, oh, they understand that though this item is a list format actually. It's a list, or like it's like an array. After this, what is happening that, oh, delivered time. Oh, this is nothing but it's like an object actually. So same thing. You could see that this should be aligned, guys. Item and all this should be aligned like this actually, right? What is it? Deliver time. Deliver time. Because it is an object, because it has many things actually. Again, for the object, how you do this, you'll just enter, right? From here, give two spaces and you'll give hyphen. What is it? Placed on. I know for some time it looks bored for you, but this is how you have to understand, man. There's no other way actually. And you have to put hyphen, not hyphen. I think hyphen is not, only one time is required. So then this is how it is. You have to put hyphen. You have to just place it like this. And you go this time. That's all. No other thing. This is what your YAML representation of that same ordering with the Swiggy actually. Am I clear, sir? So what you are understanding again, you will say that, okay, Rajesh, YAML looks better than Swiggy, better than JSON actually. JSON is somewhat okay, but YAML looks very simple to me actually. So yes, that's true actually. YAML actually still looks very, very comfortable and very human understandable, readable format is very good compared to even JSON also. That's what happened. Most of the DevOps tools, they started using YAML only. You see Kubernetes, you see Ansible, right? You take most of the tools, you take Azure DevOps pipeline, you take GitLab, GitHub Actions, everywhere they use YAML. They won't use JSON now. JSON is used in CloudFormation templating and JSON used in some other formats, some other tools. But 90% of the tools they have started using YAML only. Because the way we write, it is very simple way of writing, representing the data in the YAML format, right? Only one thing what you have to understand in YAML or JSON is that spacing is important. If you miss with the spacing is the one which will throw error actually. Apart from that, okay, it is fine. Everything is easy to understand actually. And spacing is also not that big deal. You have to just choose what is the spacing. Either if you use a tab everywhere though, throughout the file when you write it, you have to use space as a tab only. If you're using two spaces, you have to use two spaces. And as I said, in industry organization, they use two spaces as a standard one actually. Am I clear, sir? Is it fine? Okay, now, so this is what I thought that, okay, before we start with the playbook file, let me try to make you understand about this formats, data formats and all. Okay, okay, good. Now let us try to understand some very, very key important terms, what we use in Ansible playbook file. Whenever I write an Ansible playbook file, playbook key terms. See, in our playbook, whenever I write a playbook file, we heavily use something known as inventory. I think we have been hearing from the day one onwards. What is inventory? It's a list of nodes to which the Ansible control server will connect, right? So it means that you know that the global inventory is nothing but a etc Ansible host file, right? This is a global inventory file, right? Similarly, you can even keep your local inventory file. In your local path only, something like I'll keep the name as a my host or something, you keep it actually, right? This is what we will say as an inventory file actually. Right, an inventory file either will have a node IP addresses or the fully qualified domain name, or else it can even have variables. It can have something like a grouping also, right? And this etc Ansible host file, this is in ini format, ini format, right? So where ini format, it you can even mention all kind of a grouping thing, everything through this. That's what we'll do it. So this is one of the term which we'll be using heavily, and we know that okay, when we come to Ansible, or admit that there is something we talk about always inventory, and inventory are two types. One is a static inventory, other is the dynamic. Static inventory is not but where etc Ansible host file is a static inventory. Dynamic entry in inventory is something which we're going to look into it later. What is dynamic entry? How to build a dynamic inventory also, we'll see it later. After 4 5 sessions, we'll see about the dynamic inventory also. So sometime you might ask Rajesh whether I can write this etc Ansible host file, static inventory file, which is in any format. Can you write even in JSON format or in a YAML format? Yes, sir, you can write it. How to write that also, we'll see it later. You need to follow one structure of writing this host file in a YAML or JSON. That we'll see. It is very quite interesting also. They'll not ask an interview about this, but it is always better that you should be aware of this, right? Sometime what happens in some organization, you will see that this inventory files are written in JSON or YAML format. Then you start thinking, what is it? Rajesh has said something like ini format is there, grouping it supports and everything. But when I seen the project, I could see that it is in JSON format or YAML format. That was never thought. That was never told by Rajesh. He will say it's not like that, guys. In some organization, they will write even this host file also, etc Ansible host file also. They will write in JSON format or in YAML format. Why they do that way? That also I'll be discussing, because you will get more and more advantage if you write a host file in a JSON or YAML format. Why? Again, I will quote one example. If you go through that example, if you see that whatever I explain on that day, right, you will understand, okay, why industry go with writing the host file in the YAML or JSON format. Particularly, they use YAML only, not JSON. YAML only they use it. So from now onwards, guys, I will not use this word JSON for Ansible playbook file. Always it is YAML only. 99.99% of the time, in all the organization, they write the Ansible playbook file with the YAML representation only, not with the JSON. But JSON also supported by your Ansible. Is it fine, guys? Okay. Now, what are the other things which we are frequently hearing it now? Like, yeah, I know that we hear something like the models. So we know that what is a model, guys? Model is the smallest unit of execution of code in Ansible, right? So it is the smallest unit. Means that the finally a model is on which finally get executed. So how your Ansible works totally? Your Ansible works because at the end model is the one who is going to take care of execution of that task. Without the model, Ansible is nothing. Ansible is nothing, right? Without models, what can Ansible do? Ansible control manager can do, or control server. It cannot do anything. Model has to be there, right? When you try to execute any task, we use this term task in Ansible. When you try to execute any task, the task is nothing but in turn the task you are calling a model actually. And model is a very, very smallest unit of execution of a code, or we call it as an atomic unit of automation in Ansible. We say is a model actually like that. And why we use it actually, we specify our desired status actually. Desired state in Ansible, desired, not designed, desired state in Ansible using this model. What are the things which you hear frequently? What are the key terms? Tasks, right? So task is something, a task in Ansible will consist of models actually, right? Every task will come and every task will consist of models. And you can have multiple tasks, not like one task. You can have multiple tasks. And what is it? Something we use sometimes a play actually. Plays play uh, play always consist of multiple tasks actually, right? And also we'll be using some term we'll be using as a playbook actually. What is a playbook? Playbook will consist of, it consists of one or more plays, right? Say for example, right? Whenever I write any YAML file, right? Suppose I'll write a playbook file, something like first playbook dot YAML, like that I'll write, right? It's always starts with the three hyphen, right? And I'll just say hyphen name something like this. I'll write all the code, everything like this. Again, if you want it some more, again we'll say hyphen name and write everything. So this is one play, okay, and this is one play. So you're having more plays. One play. This is a first play, first play, and this is a second play, like this. So you can have n number of multiple plays. So this all together, whatever you do, it is nothing but it's a playbook file. So playbook file will consist of one or more plays actually. These are plays. First play, second play, like that actually. Am I clear, sir? Right? So, guys, I will take another 15 minutes more. I'll try to complete it. Just one playbook file we will write. Or else, if you want, we can continue from tomorrow. Tomorrow we will be writing, right? We'll be writing the first playbook file, and tomorrow onwards, we'll be only involved in writing only playbook files. And we'll be learning about different types of playbook files. Different types of playbooks we have to understand, means different way of writing, not different types, different way of writing, different ways of writing playbook file. We will have to understand that one. First, we'll understand, before that, first let us understand about how to write the first playbook file. I think we have already seen, right? Writing the first playbook file. But anyhow, tomorrow again we'll reiterate it. We'll try to write it. What are the different ways, different playbook formats? That's a different way of writing playbook formats. We will see it actually, and we'll also see like what are the different. We'll see some different examples, different uh, examples of playbooks actually. This will be quite interesting. We will be learning all these things, right? Suppose I want to install some packages, I want to copy some file, I want to install the PHP package, I want to install some NFS server, I want to configure the Tomcat server, how I can do everything to play. It is very quite interesting, everything. Now everything, whatever we see from tomorrow, we will be everything with practicals now. After this, what happened, right? We will be using so many things like import task, import underscore task, export underscore task. We will be using something like gathering underscore facts actually. Okay, and we'll also be seeing, like what are the variables, conditional statements actually. So many things are there, guys. This we will be using it, and different types of loops we'll be seeing how we use the different types of loops actually. So whatever I'm saying, this itself will take around 6 to 7 session or 6 to 8 session. What I'm saying, this itself will be taking around 8 sessions. So next 8 sessions, we will be completely busy in learning now. What are the other things which comes in the playbook and all? So block and rescue is there, and like Ansible Vault is there. So many things are there, guys. So this will be quite interesting things from now onwards. Okay. So I thought I will cover many things today, but unfortunately, I couldn't cover it up. Anyhow, we will stop it today. So we will freshly start from how to write our first playbook file from tomorrow onwards. So tomorrow is Friday. So guys, tomorrow sharply we'll start by 9:05, and you give me exactly 2 hours of time. I will be covering many things on tomorrow's session itself, right? And also we'll be having a class even on Saturday also. Okay, Sunday we will not have class. Tomorrow morning I was supposed to take Azure. I will not take Azure. I will be taking Azure on Saturday morning, right? So this weekend we will be spending some quite of good amount of time in Ansible. Clear? Sunday also we'll try to keep Ansible. I will not waste Sunday. Sunday evening, again same 9 o'clock we'll have an Ansible session. Okay, I'll try to I have to do more and more things, right? I have to complete very fast also. So let us even have even on Sundays also. Whoever are free, let them attend. Others, you please go through the recording, right? Thank you then, guys. I hope you understood today's session. Any questions you have? This I'll fix it. This I will try to fix this and I will let you know. Yeah, one more thing. Yesterday we were facing some issue with the CentOS, right? CentOS 8, right? I was saying that I'll try to fix that issue. Nothing else. I did a very simple thing actually. What I did, I went to the CentOS machine. I uninstalled the Python, whatever was there. So what was the error? What was the mistake means when I installed the yum install Python 3, something like that, right? It actually didn't install the Python properly. It didn't install all the properly. That is what I saw it actually. Even though it was showing when I execute the Python 3-FN version, it was showing me the Python is installed, but there were many in the backend, there were many modules were missing, which were not installed at all. So that's the reason what happened, right? When the Ansible server was trying to connect to the CentOS, where it was expecting Python 3, but in turn it was expecting many other modules to be there, but it was missing all those who were missing. Hence, it couldn't even connect it to this server, right? Ansible server. Ansible server couldn't connect to this node 3, which was a CentOS. So hence what I did that I uninstalled the Python and through the pip, I installed the Python 3 completely. Once it worked, once I installed it completely, and then when I was trying to communicate with the Ansible servers, it was communicating with the node 3, which is nothing but your CentOS 8. With the CentOS machine actually. Am I clear, sir? So what we followed for installation of Python in yesterday's session was completely wrong. You should install in a proper way. So I did it through pip only. The pip installed the Python 3 completely with all the models. Then Ansible server started communicating with the Node 3. Anyhow, now today we are having, we don't have, I mean, anyhow, we are having this one. What happened? We are having Amazon Linux, right? So Amazon Linux is there. So that is fine. But I just did it and I just tried to terminate that one yesterday itself. So it was a nice learning for me because I didn't knew that actually Python was not properly installed. So I tried to thought that I will uninstall it and freshly install it. Then it started working actually. So then I could realize that, okay, what we did through installing for first time when you install yum install Python 3, right? That is not a proper step to install it actually. Am I clear, sir? So guys, it's something like where you'll be learning a lot of things. You will do mistakes. You learn from what you do the mistake, and you'll try to correct it. That's how we think. That's how we become, mature in this actually. Otherwise, what happen? No, if you feel like okay, whatever I do, everything should be perfect only, that will not work out, right? So always you have to do. You will be doing some mistakes, and definitely you'll be learning out of that. But you have to have an intention to, crack that whatever the issue which you are facing, right? You should be behind that to fix that issue. Otherwise, if you leave as it is, thinking that someone else will fix the issue for me, means nobody will fix the issue. You yourself have. If you have created the mess, you only have to clean it up, right? Something like that, right? So thank you then, guys. So we'll meet tomorrow, same timing, 9 p.m. IST. Thank you then. Let me stop the recording.